Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you have the first installment of Is This Subscription Worth My Money? In this video, I will be going over 8 of my subscriptions. I will not be talking about the comic subscription, the Blacklit subscription, which I have since canceled. I will also not be talking about the 2 new subscriptions that I have gotten. That is Inkstone, which is a quarterly subscription. I'm going to wait a little while on that one. And I also will not be talking about Broken Binding because I just started getting that one when I started this series. I think I will start going over Broken Binding after I've gotten the first complete series from them. So I'll be going over 8 different subscriptions today. And already, one is close to the chopping block. One has been for a while, and then one has an unfortunate choice of a book, but I'll talk about that. The rest of them seem to be safe for this month. So we'll start off by talking about FairyLoot, and I'm going to do the YA first. So this month I had Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. One thing to mention is all of the FairyLoot YA books that I have gotten up until this point have been the full box subscriptions. And so the cost factored in on the graphic that you see, that does include the full box cost. Now, going forward, I have since switched to the book only subscription, and I will reflect that in my star rating on cost once I start talking about those books. So, first off, let's talk about the customizations. This is a redesigned cover. It is gorgeous. Then you have block sprayed edges. You have this amazing detail here. You have custom end pages. And then you have the piece de resistance, this gorgeous cover here. It also has a reverse dust jacket. So customizations, absolutely stellar. No doubt, customizations are a 5-star. The factor to take into account for the cost is the fact that this is a UK subscription and I live in the United States, so shipping is going to be a little bit more. Now, that does make it more of a cost, and if I lived in the UK, I probably still would have stuck with the full box, however I'm going to describe that. But cost just means I can't justify the expense for the full box, especially since I don't keep a lot of those items. So for cost, I rated this 3 stars. Technically, if I had been thinking about this, I would have done 2.5 because I forgot that this was a full box subscription. You will see when I talk about Illumicrate, which I have as a book only, and I've had as a book only for quite a while, that I also gave the cost 3 stars. So technically, because this is full box, I should rate it at 2.5 stars, which would drop this just a little bit below 4.0. I can't do the math in my head at the moment. When it comes to customer service, I have not had to contact their customer service very often. I have once or twice. I think there was one time that an item was missing, and one time I was asking about a shipping date, I believe. So because I've had minimal contact, I'm gonna rate that 4 stars, not a full 5 stars, just because I haven't had a lot of contact with them, and I have seen things that were a little bit, that people had some issues with customer service. I have not, so I rated that at 5 stars. And then as far as enjoyment for the book goes, this was a 4-star read for me. So we come in with about a 3.9, 3.95, a little bit lower than what the graphic says. So pretty good start for FairyLoot. Overall, I don't think FairyLoot is going to be on the chopping block, but we're gonna look at all of them. Next, we have Goldsboro. And for Goldsboro, we have my favorite of the customizations, and that is The Final Strife. So this is the only book that I have gotten from any of my subscriptions that has come in a slipcase, fully redesigned slipcase. So you've got it with a white background and red design, and then on the book itself, you have red background and a silver design. I know they have also done a special edition for the second book in the series, but because I hadn't read this book yet, I did not get that special edition. So customizations, hands down, 5 stars. When it comes to the cost, Goldsboro is book only, and because it is also a UK subscription, the cost is a little bit up there in shipping, and so I rated that 3 stars. Again, as I just mentioned for Spice Road for Fairy Loot should have come down to a 2.5 stars. For what I'm getting for my money, is it the best value for money? That's what I'm evaluating here on cost. Is it the best value for money? I'm not 100% sure because Goldsboro, as we will see in future installments, does not always go all out on the customizations. They did on this one. Then when it comes to customer service, I kept at a 4 star, although I did debate whether or not to knock that to a 3.5 or 3 star, because there have been a handful of times, well, I probably would have knocked it down to a 3.5 star, just because there was a time where, not their fault, it was on my end, my card number was compromised, and so I had to get a new card, but their system didn't catch on to it really. And so it wasn't until I was waiting for a pre-order of a special edition that never came that I figured out that I hadn't been getting these books. They never contacted me to tell me, hey, we can't charge you anymore, so we're not sending you these books. Now, when I reached out to them, they were great with it, but it was like 3 months without getting any books. Should I have gone on a little bit sooner? Yes. Also in their system, they should want the money, so they should have said, hey, we're not getting money from you. Can you update your credit card, please? So that's why their customer service is down at a 4. They should have notified me, but when I contacted them, they were great with their customer service. And then as far as enjoyment goes, this was also a 4-star read. So that, with the adjustments that are a little bit different than the image that I have here, that means that Fairy Loot YA and Goldsboro are about the same, a 3.9, 3.95. Then we come to the one where I really like the subscription, and I'm just bummed that the first book from this subscription did not work out. And that is Caffeine and Legends. And the book for that one, first one I got from them was The Terraformers. I was excited because I had seen it and it was a stretch for me. But as you know, I ended up DNFing this book. So first off, let's start with customizations. There are none. Now, I gave it a 3 stars, which was middle of the road because there are no customizations. And that should be reflected in the cost. I'm still working out how I'm going to rank these, especially for the ones that don't have any customizations. And I know that going in. This is just the typical book that you could go pick up off the shelf. As far as cost goes, I did put it at a 4 star because this is a subscription that's not just the book. It is also coffee and a few other extras. So I put that at a 4 star. It's a good value for money, but it is a little bit on the more expensive side. Customer service is phenomenal. When I realized that I accidentally skipped a later month, the wrong month, and I reached out to them, they fixed it like that. I have had great customer service from them. And unfortunately, I gave it half a star because I read half the book. But the only reason that Caffeine and Legends is so low is because I had to DNF this first book. Hopefully the other books in the subscription will not fall prey to that. Next, we have my tailored book recommendations book, and the reason that the customer service is on there at all, and that is the Ivory Key. This is from the first set of tailored book recommendations. All the previous 3 are monthly. This one is quarterly, and every quarter you get 3 books. So basically it's like a book a month, you just get them every 3 months. And you upload your Goodreads account, and they go through it, and they make recommendations based on what you've said in your profile. And I'm not gonna get into it here, but I have had some rather awful customer experiences, like some of the worst customer service experiences that I have ever had, because the second and the third box that I got from them had duplicates in it. And the second of those had 2 duplicates in it. So it was basically like a whole box was a duplicate of things that I had already had. I'm like, why am I spending the money for this? So the customer service it wasn't customer service. It was like here's someone you can say something to you, and then we're gonna put you in your place. It wasn't great. As far as customizations go, there are no customizations on here, and if I'm thinking about that, I probably should rate Caffeine and Legends also at 2 stars, just because there are no customizations on either of these to make these equal. So technically, let's bring down Caffeine and Legends to about a 3 instead of a 3.12. These are just, they make the selections based on your Goodreads, what you've put in there, your profile, etc. And these are regular new release hardbacks. The cost is a fairly good cost per book, etc. You get just the 3 books. You don't get any extras. It is interesting though, in this most recent quarter set of books that I got, there was a novella in there. And I don't know whether or not the cost would work out that well. So I did dock a star for cost. 1 star for customer service, because they at least responded. Then as far as enjoyment goes, this was a 4-star read. Most of my BookBox books this month were 4-star reads. Next, we come to the 2 subscriptions that you make the selections from a group that was pre-selected, and I'm going to start with Book of the Month. And that is why, so I had tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow as a selection for this month. Now, that is why on the graphic over here, as far as customer service, you will also see or selection. So I'm also putting that idea of selection in there, and I'll tell you why more specifically when I get to Aardvark. Again, there are some customizations on these books which I really enjoy the aesthetic of, so I should bump that rating up above the 2 that don't have any customizations. You have the Book of the Month symbol on the front cover, you have it on the spine, and then on the hardback itself, they have this same style and they have the customization down here. I like that. I like being able to keep all of them together. This particular book, however, I'm not keeping, but I'll get to that in a moment. The cost 5 stars, because the monthly subscription is, I believe, $15.95 or $16.95, I can't remember which. And then all of your add-ons are only $10.99. And for a new release hardcover, that is a fantastic price, and you don't have to pay shipping. So cost, phenomenal. You're not going to beat that with cost. As far as selection goes, Book of the Month has a phenomenal selection. I have been a Book of the Month member for 11 months now, and I already have all of these books that you can see above my head. And that's because you could, at first, when I was first a member, add 2 add-ons, and now I was part of the beta group for getting up to 4 add-ons, and now that's rolled out to everybody. So the selection is phenomenal with Book of the Month. Customer service, I've never had to reach out to their customer service, but because their customer selection is so good, I did rate that 5 stars as well. Enjoyment, I have to keep in mind that even though this book was a massive disappointment for me, it still was well written, solidly written, and it ended up with a 3 stars. So Book of the Month also came out with a 4.0 rating. And I think it's the first with an actual 4.0 rating, because I did have to retroactively knock down a couple of those others. So right now, Book of the Month is in the lead. Then we come to Aardvark, and this was my selection for Aardvark for the month. And Aardvark is a new subscription service started in October of last year with a similar idea to Book of the Month. Problem is, aside from the first month where I found something that month that I wanted to get, which was right here, and I got some add-ons from previous months, I've had to skip 2 months now. I skipped June and I skipped May. I'm so glad they put that policy in there, because you cannot make a previous month's book your book for the month. You have to choose from that selection, and I do not like the majority of the selections that they have had. I think if we have yet another month where I don't really want anything, I'm going to end up canceling. I'm going to use that 1 credit that I've paid for, which, you know, is rolled over from the skip policy, but the selection is just not great. As far as customizations go, they do have the same or similar level of customizations to Book of the Month. They have their aardvark symbol, and then they have it in different places on different books, and then they have it on here as well. Then when it comes to enjoyment, that's the thing. This was my only 5-star read out of all my BookBox books, and it's with a subscription that I might not keep. So overall, that brings Aardvark in at 3.62. Okay, if the angle changed at all, I had to change the battery. We have 2 books left, 2 book boxes left. I'm going to go next with one of the oldest BookBox subscriptions that I have had, second only to OwlCrate, but I don't have OwlCrate anymore, and that is Illumicrate. And I have long since gone to the book-only version on Illumicrate because most of those extras that were included in their subscription just weren't for me. And so my Illumicrate selection for this month is The Luminaries. This was the first to be shipped out of their US fulfillment center, and also it was the first out of Daphne Press, which was their own press that they run. I forget the wording with it. And the customizations are out of this world on this book. If you got this design, you've got all this design all around the edge here. You've got custom end pages, which I think on this one, yeah, they're the same on both sides. And then you have this on the naked hardback, and of course it is also signed. Now, one thing to mention about this particular one is that everyone noticed that there is a typo. The E is missing on Hemlock. Now, customizations wise, this is absolutely phenomenal. Very well done. Cost. The cost is much more reasonable. I should have gone up to a 3.5 star on this one, I think, because their cost has come down a little bit because they now have a US fulfillment center. FairyLoot does not. Illumicrate sends out their monthly boxes to US subscribers from their US fulfillment center, which does bring down the cost a little bit. And also I'm getting the book only version. Then when it comes to customer service, it is not a glowing 5 stars, even though I have had fantastic customer service with them personally for a few different things that I've had to contact them about. The reason that I brought it down a little bit was because of, yes, there were things that were outside of their control. Around the time that they switched to their US distributor, they had massive issues with getting these books out, and there was months and months and months delay with getting these books out. I will say they communicated frequently, and even if it didn't make them look good because it was yet another delay, they communicated, they let their subscribers know, but I know that that did cause a lot of frustration for people, especially their US subscribers. Speaking of shipping, their special edition books still do come from the UK. They are not shipped out of the US distribution center. And then as far as enjoyment goes, this was again a 4-star read. And so that brings Illumicrate to a 4.0, although technically probably a 4.1 if I factor in that extra half star for cost. The last one, if we thought that Illumicrate went all out on customizations, wait till you see FairyLoot Adult. And this was the first FairyLoot Adult book that I got, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. One of the most gorgeous books I own. It is so beautiful. So we've got this gorgeous redesigned cover. Okay? We've got block sprayed edges on top and bottom. We've got this incredible design here. We've got gold foiled end pages, different on both sides, and these end pages are a map. And then we've got this for the naked hardback. If on my rating scale it went above a 5-star, this one would get above a 5-star. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. So customizations, definitely 5 stars. As far as cost goes, like with Illumicrate. I should probably bump this up to 3.5 stars because the only version of this is book only. Again, this is a UK subscription, so the cost is slightly higher. FairyLoot does not have a US distributor. Customer service, I rated FairyLoot Adult the same as I rated FairyLoot YA. It is the same company providing the customer service. As far as enjoyment goes, I was slightly disappointed because I wanted to absolutely love this the way I did City of Brass. However, this was also a 4-star read. So at the end of the month, we have 2 books on top. We have FairyLoot Adults and we have Illumicrate. These books are on top. Am I all that surprised? Not really, actually. At the bottom is Tailored Book Recommendations. If this score were to maintain throughout, then I would be getting rid of Tailored Book Recommendations because a 2.75 is not great. This begs the question of, am I going to continually ding Tailored Book Recommendations for the poor customer service that I had with them on multiple occasions in the past? I don't know. For the books that apply to that segment where I had the poor customer service, I think I will still ding them on it. However, I'm hoping that the enjoyment of the book can potentially save it. If at the end of the year it's still hovering around this because I've only read books from those subscription time periods with the poor customer service, I might give it a little bit of wiggle room. It just needs to get up to a 3. But I have a feeling out of all of these, the absolute closest to the chopping block is this one right here. And then the one that's a bummer that it is so low, but it's only because I DNF'd this book, and that is Caffeine and Legends with the Terraformers. So there you go. There is installment number 1 of my Is This Subscription Worth My Money? In future installments, if I get around to reading more than 1 book from a particular subscription within a month, then I will talk about both of those. And I will keep a running total in the images that I put up here. I will not have a section for recalculating, but you'll be able to see, are they continuing at the same level? Are they going up or are they going down? And I'm going to reevaluate every quarter. So every 3 installments. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.